Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another daylight edition of the Morning Skate. If it's daylight, you know my co-host Ken is not here because that's just how we operate. I am joined by one of the legends of the women's game, the little ball of hate, or as I used to call the little Wardo of hate. Ladies and gentlemen, a three-time Hockey East all academic who has never lost a Hockey East playoff game at Northeastern University. Ladies and gentlemen, Tessa Ward has finally made it to the podcast. Wardo, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you for doing this and taking time. I know you're busy.
Excited.
Well, as excited as you and I are to talk, somewhere Delaney O'Brien is nervously listening, going, "Oh no, what is she going to say?"
Oh, but I do believe that.
Well, let's just jump into it. So it's Galesburg. Is that how you say it? Galesburg, Michigan, where you grew up?
Yeah.
So it looks, I'm not trying to insult anybody. It looks rural.
You know what it is?
Is that fair to say?
There's not a lot going on in Galesburg. Especially like going from that to Boston was a huge switch up, or from Boston back to Galesburg. It's a lot different. There's not a lot to do around here.
And you were homeschooled?
I was homeschooled all the way until college. I never went to school, grade school at all. My first class was my freshman year.
Okay. Was it just you, or did your brothers also?
My brothers also. We were all homeschooled all the way up, which was awesome. It actually started with so my dad played hockey in Sweden a little bit, and it was when my older brother, so I have an older brother who's 27 right now, he was about to start grade school, and there was no Swedish schools for him to go to in Sweden. So my mom decided to homeschool him, and then kind of followed suit with everybody, fell in love with it. So, yeah.
I will say I have a theory with homeschool because a couple of kids that I used to coach were homeschooled, and I feel like it makes you better at time management. It makes you like self-driven. Like you have to be responsible for your own stuff. You don't have like your parent or a teacher or principal like, hey, get to class, do this. It's on you. And I think that makes almost in some ways an easier transition to college, where it's more of you have to take care of yourself, your own responsibilities.
I agree. I felt like very independent going into Northeastern. Like I knew that my responsibilities and my classes and whatnot, but I mean, I can't say that I didn't get in trouble for skipping class every now and then.
Wait, how would that happen? Your mom or your dad is like, go to the garage?
Oh, no. I mean, in college.
Oh, I thought you meant in homeschool.
No, go to the garage.
Yeah,
awesome. It was like school. I did the same thing that everybody else did in their grades, minus all the hoops to jump through. So It was like, I mean, we had a rink in my yard growing up, and we would do school. We would have school from like 9 till noon, and then go play hockey from noon till 4 p.m. every day. So that was awesome. But it was like I got the same schooling in just a shorter amount of time.
A different environment, right? No, all right. So let's go to your family. I'm going to go off the rails when we talk about your dad, so I'm going to go over the other people first. So your mom, Christine, you have 4 brothers. Did they all played?
They all played growing up. Like we all kind of grew up playing in Kalamazoo, the COHA program, Kalamazoo Optimist Hockey Association.
Wow.
So we all grew up in that. And then my older brother played at Northern Michigan. We went in same freshman year together. And he played a couple years there. And then my youngest brother actually just finished his high school season. So, yeah, we're all done now. Nobody plays anymore, but he was a senior this year.
And USHL too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I had a couple brothers in the USHL.
Yeah. And now your dad, Ed Ward, 278 games played in the NHL. This is the best part for me. Is that he played Calgary, Anaheim, and New Jersey, but he also played for Quebec, no longer in existence, and he was a Thrasher.
He was a Thrasher.
Yeah, which is sick. Does he have any of those old jerseys?
Oh my goodness, they're in my basement right now, and I keep saying I'm gonna sell them. I'm like, look at this, I'm gonna sell them, but they are really cool. It's like vintage Thrasher jersey. I think I have a a very small size when I was like in Atlanta. I think it's like a youth medium.
Yeah.
And that's in my closet, and it's like tiny, but they are fun. I can't believe, Quebec and the Thrashers.
Yeah, yeah. So people that have listened to this podcast before know I mean, we'll call it what it is. It's an obsession with the big guy, Jerome McGinley. Your dad, former teammate, buddies. I mean, we are one step away from Jerome at this moment, which is insane. And Ken is going to be laughing his ass off when he listens to this. I mean, I have a pair of his skates that someone gave me for a birthday present. I have, look at right here. This is just ridiculous. I have his nameplate from the Penguins right there. Yeah. Yeah. He's my guy. He's always was my guy. Yeah. So your dad, they're boys.
Yeah, I guess they were boys. And when they played together in Calgary, my dad tells me stories about me like sitting on Jerome's lap out at the bar. Like we're out at the bar, my parents are out, and I'm sitting on his lap and I'm refusing to get off. Like I would not go back to my parents. He just held me all night long when I was a little baby. So I think that's my favorite memory, and that not my memory. I don't remember, but just my favorite story of him and when he played with my dad, it was really cool to kind of hear that. And then his daughter's unreal at hockey too. I know he has a good thing going at Brown, which is awesome.
Yeah, and her brothers are tearing it up. Yeah. Now, do you have? This one always is curious to me about people whose parents play pro. Do you remember like different rinks as a kid, or were you too young?
I was young. I remember like bits and pieces. Like specifically, I remember my older brother and I eating all the sugar cubes out of the coffee area in like Calgary and in Sweden. So like those memories kind of stick with you, but I don't remember watching the games. Goodness, no.
Your dad you play very much like your dad did. He was a tough guy. Do you ever go look at his clips?
I have looked at his clips a couple of times. Yeah, he was a tough guy. He used to put my brother and I in practice jerseys in the basement and be like, "All right, this is how you fight." So, and
the first person at Northeastern women's hockey be like, I need a strap on the back here, please.
Yeah, fight straps. And
I know. Carp gave me a jersey, and I was like, why is there a fight strap on it? He's like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that's too good. That's too good.
I was on the team. That's why they put him on there.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so your homeschool led to Lansing Spartans Hockey Club, where, look, there's no way to sugarcoat this. You lit it up for the Spartans. Let's see here. Your individual best year, you only put up 67 points in 69 games played, only. But overall, 263 points in 4 seasons. That's just like, all right, you're too good for this level, I think. And the one I like here is that year where you had 67 points in 69 games. In those 69 games, 130 PIMs.
That was pretty good. I'm like, I still got that many points sitting in the box half the time.
Yeah, well, those are harder in PIMs because there's no 10s, right? That was 5s at the most. You didn't get game misconducts in high school, did you?
I had 110 that season. Okay. I know the rules in Michigan are a little bit different than the rules in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can get a 10, you can just get a 10, or you can just get a 5.
Okay.
But it's not, you don't automatically get a game with those.
You don't get the 17, the 2, 5, 10. Yeah, you don't get that. Yeah. Okay. You are amongst you're like, I think, in the top 3 in points, goals, assists, and number 1 in penalty minutes still. I did. Yeah, I looked. I went on their site and it said you still are the number 1 in PIMS.
Oh, wow. That is a surprise to me, but very believable. Thanks for looking up that stat. I'm like, I'm going to text Kevin and let him know.
And you also, I don't want to discount, you also played lacrosse MVP in the Player of the Year 2 years when you were there. Was it one of those deals where they made you play 3 sports?
No, I didn't I went to homeschool, not prep school.
Oh, right. Sorry. I forgot. Yeah, I
Um,
immediately starts thinking like, Shattuck. Oh, you got to play 3 sport. Yeah.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, like at Shattuck it is like you have to play sport every
Yeah.
semester at most preps. But I played lacrosse growing up because my brothers started playing, and
Okay.
I was like, I really wanted to play. I would play in the yard with them. We would have a great time. But my parents were like, "You're not playing boys lacrosse. You're absolutely not." I'm like, "I play boys hockey. What do you mean I'm not going to play boys lacrosse?"
It's
Uh,
2 different sports at the lacrosse level. It's crazy. Like
oh,
I coached boys lacrosse in the high school level, varsity level, and I had to fill in at a girls' game, and I was like yelling stuff to them, and they were like, "What?" Like I don't understand the rules. It's crazy.
it's completely different. So I
Mhm.
played boys until high school. So I played boys from 5th grade until 8th grade. And I had brothers, so we would always play in my yard. I had a good time. And then I switched to girls, which was very different, an adjustment.
Yeah.
I think my sophomore year I had like 70 goals because
Wow.
I would take the draw and then I would just run with my stick straight ahead. I would just run dead stick all the way down the field and then shoot and score. And it was like
No pocket though. You had to go from having a pocket to no pocket. Yeah, which is
yeah,
harder. Right.
I with my stick just
Yeah.
straight. It looked like a spoon, like an egg race.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's funny watching it's like hockey's the same. A lot of the sports are the same. You got baseball, softball, but then the lacrosse, it's like it used to be. I mean, I'm going way back. I'm dating myself with this, but when
Uh-huh.
I was a player, there was no out of bounds in the girls' game. Yeah, they used to have no out of bounds. You could just go. You could just keep, if you were really fast, you could just keep going wide. It was insane. Yeah, they had
Really?
to play on huge fields. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
I still don't even know like the arc rules or
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
space. I used to get called for shooting space all the time. I remember, I think it was my sophomore year too. I got a penalty. I got a red card, a yellow card. I got a yellow card for and my aim wasn't good. Like I couldn't aim. I could
Well,
shoot
it's a
really
bigger net, so that's
hard, I had
okay.
no idea where it was going. So I always just tried to bounce it off the ground because that
Yeah.
would like most of the time go in. And this one time I ran down the field and I just smoked the goalie in the helmet.
Ooh.
Smoke. And I guess that's not allowed in girls lacrosse. Like you can't hit the
How
goalie in the head. I'm like, they're a goalie. They're standing there to block the ball.
did they wear a helmet then?
Happy. And they said that I tried it. They wear a helmet, like full
Okay.
on boys helmet, same stuff. And yeah, I smoked her in the head and they were like, what were you doing? Trying to kill her? Gave me a yellow card.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, actually, we were just talking about this today. There's a big thing now in the NHL where I don't know if you've been watching with the goalies been getting hit in the helmet because everybody's trying to bank it in from like the goal line extended, like hard angles. And like Samsonov for the Maple Leafs keeps shaking his helmet during gameplay because he feels the strap come loose and it stops play.
Uh,
Well, we were talking about today. They're gonna start, or maybe it was we were listening to someone talk about it. They're wondering if in the next bargaining is there going to have to be pads now on the sides of the goalie helmets. Maybe because by the
wouldn't be
letter of
surprised.
the law, what's that?
I said I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because by the rules, if you get hit in the head, you're supposed to sit for 10 minutes in the dark, the dark room, the concussion spot, and all that stuff. So you're not going to pull a goalie out in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
For 10
Yeah,
minutes and put
yeah.
his
Can
back
you
up
imagine?
in and then put him back in after he sits
Yeah,
in the dark room. Like,
yeah. I get. I don't know what they're going to do.
never look at the goalie's head if I were the other team.
100%. So when you're behind the net, why wouldn't you hit him in the back of the head? Right? If you
Exactly.
can, well, I'm
It's
talking like I have the control to lift it where I want it. Um, so talking about NHL, were you so you grew up well, actually kind of closer to Chicago than Detroit. Were you a fan of your dad's teams or did you have an NHL team growing up that you rooted for?
I think I kind of stuck with Calgary a little bit just because I was born there. So I
Oh,
became like a
nice.
fan of them. So yeah, I was born when my dad was playing there. So I got that Canadian birth certificate, that dual
Oh,
citizenship.
dual citizenship. Nice. I've been trying to get that. My dad's slacking on filling out the paperwork.
So I kind of stuck with them. Like obviously Red Wings growing up were really really good. Like back in the 90s. It's hard not to be a fan of their team, but I wouldn't call myself too much of a fan now.
Of the Red Wings in general, or just the NHL, or
just the Red Wings in general.
okay,
Like
okay.
I follow the Bruins a little bit, but not as much as I used to for sure.
Well, it's tough when you're not living here too, and the NHL, in all its infinite wisdom, does not make it easy to watch games. It's crazy.
No,
Like,
I'm
make
a
it
big
easier, not harder.
fan. Like
Yeah.
I follow college hockey. We have Western Michigan here, the Broncos, which is unbelievable team, great student section. My brother works for them, so
Oh,
I get
nice.
tickets all the time. So I go to a lot of college games, but I would say, like, I feel like once you get to the NHL, like everybody's kind of at the same level. Everybody's good. Everybody's
Yeah.
the best. And college is fun because you can kind of point out different styles or different skill levels and be like, oh, this team is really bad or this team is really good. Like I was watching the Frozen Four a couple weeks ago, and I was shocked Denver won. I thought Boston College was going to have that one, just like skill wise, team wise, and it's like BU and BC. I feel like are good every couple years, and then everybody's like there, and then they sign because they have such a
Yeah.
great year, and then it's like rebuilding for a little bit. So it was fun to see them both have success this year. I was kind of going for Michigan State. Well, I was going for Western, and then I was going for Michigan State. Definitely wasn't going for Michigan. Not a Michigan fan. But it was fun to watch this year. But Denver pulled that out of kind of nowhere, I felt like. Like that was a
Well,
surprise.
I mean, it's probably a little karma. You know, BC was, I mean, all the interviews running up to that game, they were so unlikable in the interviews. And I mean, the hockey gods are always watching. So, you know, that's not helping you.
That's true. It reminds me of the year their women's team went undefeated until the national championship and then lost. I think that was 2016. They lost to Minnesota in the national championship. I remember watching that one. They hadn't lost a game since. So they won everything up to that point, and then it was like they just got out coached, I think.
Well, it's funny you say that about the women's side. So this year's Frozen Four, the geographic region of the United States that had the most players at the Frozen Four was Michigan, and Michigan doesn't have a team for women. It's the stupidest thing ever. I mean, the infrastructure's there. They have so much money. Yeah.
Trust me, I know. I'm like, I try to bring it up as much as I can. Like people at Western, I'm like, you guys should get a women's team. You should get a women's team. Like get a women's team. You have a hockey hotbed here.
Yeah.
You have right, and people want to stay in Michigan. Like if Michigan or Michigan State had a team, I don't know if I would have went to Northeastern. Like,
oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I love here.
Yeah.
And just because those schools are so awesome, like I grew up visiting them, going to games there. I don't know if I would have left the state for college, but there's no other option in women's hockey. Like you want to play in college, you got to leave, which is unbelievable because I feel like it's like Minnesota, Michigan, Massachusetts are all pretty good hockey states for girls hockey.
And like the rinks are there, all the youth stuff's there, all the support systems there, and it's an easy flip of the switch to go to women's, you know what I mean, to add it. And it's just, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's great for Northeastern, you know, like you, Abby, you know, there's all these Michigan, you know, it's keep recruiting. Yeah, Tori Sullivan, right? Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just what I don't know. You get going on these things, like you get in arguments like, oh, they should do this, they should do that. It's just you want to see the game grow, you know, not go the other way.
I feel like that would be a move for Michigan for sure.
Yeah.
For Michigan State, like those two, even make a bridge between Ohio State and Minnesota. Like Ohio State has to fly to every single game that they go to for the most part. But at least live here.
When you talking NHL, was there, I know in my head, but was there players that you patterned your game after? Anyone that you looked at and like, oh, that's who I play like, or that's who I would like to play like?
I've been told my player comparison, and you can let me know if this is accurate or not, but I've been compared to Tom Wilson on.
Oh, I don't think you're dirty.
No,
Oh,
but that has been my player comparison out of
really?
anybody. Tessa Wilson. That's what Coach Burnham used to call me.
Wow. Well, she would know better than me, but
In not the dirty way, like not
oh,
the trying to hurt people way. Maybe he swings that way, but more so just the aggressive, kind of skilled, like sneaky behind the scenes way. Mean, definitely the mean.
yeah. No, all right. I guess that if you, I never saw you hit anyone when they weren't looking, which is Tom Wilson's go-to. You know, he sees the numbers and goes right at it. I was gonna say Marshawn. I just,
Ooh.
yeah, I see a Marshawn one, and I don't mean that. I mean that complimentary as a Bruins fan.
I should have said like Wayne Gretzky or something.
Oh, Wayne, yeah, me and Wayne, you didn't get that. Oh, all right. Well, I guess this interview's over. Um, so when you were talking about Michigan, Michigan State, West not having teams, were there any when you were looking at schools? It was Northeastern, obviously, but who else were you talking to? Anybody else at that time?
So I didn't commit to Northeastern until like after my senior season
Okay.
of high school because I was supposed to go to Brown originally. I was committed there since my freshman summer.
Oh,
And then we ended up running into a few like speed bumps with the homeschool thing is what I ended up with. So they wanted me to take a post grad year at like the Kent school out east
yeah.
for $50,000, and I said, "See you later. I'm gonna find a different school." And that's how I ended up at Northeastern. It ended up being such a blessing in disguise. Like at the moment, my senior year, it was super stressful. Like I was like, "Where am I gonna go to college? I have no idea." And then, when I ended up like decommitting from there, Northeastern reached out. I had never even seen the school. I never went to visit or anything. I was like, Boston? That sounds good. Hockey program's good. Sure.
God, it's amazing when I talk to you guys and how many people have similar, like, yeah, all right, I'll go. Like I mean, I remember, like Skylar who called you earlier. When when I talked to her, she's like, I walked into Matthews and I like, this is it. This is
Mhm.
me. And but talking to other people, they were like, yeah, no, I didn't really give it a whole lot of thought. And then, yeah, just Carp's a good salesman on the recruiting trail, I guess.
Yeah, he is a good salesman. I've heard a couple things that are not true. He told Abby Marone, this is funny. He told Abby Marone that the vents in the back of our stalls in the locker room emit positive ions to make the team play better.
God, my God.
And I heard about that one and I was like, I think he might have just been joking with you, Abby. Like that's so far fetched that
I don't know what is more shocking to me that Carp would say that I can see it as a joke, but the fact that Abby believed it is really upsetting to me.
both of them are like, I don't know who to blame on this one. It's like
Poor Abby. Poor Abby.
he was like, "We had the positive ions one day during a game," and we were like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, he didn't ever she wasn't ever facing the vent like breathing deeply or anything like that.
Oh my God, I wish. No, she wasn't. But that would have had me keeled over laughing.
My God. Oh, that one hurt my heart for Abby. Did you know anyone at Northeastern coming in? Team? Well, Lauren McInnes, right? You guys, did you know her ahead of time?
Other a little bit, but like I said, I didn't know that I was going to Northeastern until after my senior year. So it was kind of like, oh, I kind of remember her. And I knew Erin because we went to national camp together and she was on my team one year. So we became kind of friends. And then that's how we ended up as roommates.
So if that was that late, were you just like walking in like, oh, hey, Franco, what's up? I'm here. Like, like that pretty much?
kind of like everybody else had already done their official visits together. Like they all flew in for a weekend, and then I was like months later, like end of March, coming in for a visit to see the school that I had already committed to.
But I'm telling you, that's the difference. Like the homeschool, that's the maturity level. You can do that. You didn't have to be led around by the hand. You were like, yeah, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think of it that way.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about your change. Like we talked about where you grew up versus Northeastern. The first time you went to Northeastern was your first to move in?
Well, like I just said, I visited there for after I had committed there. So
okay. After you committed, gotcha. Okay.
For a day, I saw a practice, like toured the rink, saw the dorms, very short lived, and then I went home. But then, yeah, I guess my first like real experience was once I moved there and moved into my freshman dorm, and it was like I just remember my first week not being able to sleep at all because all I heard was sirens during the night.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so not used to this.
How was it when you went back? Was it like, oh my God, it's too quiet?
It was, oh my God, it's peaceful.
Oh, all right. Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Well, it was an adjustment for sure. Like I'm in Galesburg, the biggest city next to me is Kalamazoo, and there's nothing really to do here. It's like there's 2 places to go out, and other than that, that's all people do, like golf, fish, hunt, that sort of thing. So
Oh my God, it sounds like the town of
very,
Footloose.
very small.
You're not allowed to dance in Galesburg. It just reminds me.
Unless it's line dancing at a country bar, that's about it.
Was there any significance to number 42? Did you wear that in high school, or were you just given that at Northeastern and you just went with it?
I wore that all the way through high
Okay.
school. My whole family kind of wore the same number. It was what my dad wore in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
And then that was his longest like career place that he played at. And so we all kind of decided to wear 42. So me and all my brothers wore it.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea. That's great. And you think I would have put that together, but no, that's the morning skate difference right there.
Jackie Robinson. I'm a huge Jackie Robinson fan.
Yeah. Hey, could be worse. So you came in with McInnes, Brooke Hobson, Veronica Petty, right? It's Petty, not Petey, is it?
It's Petty and it's Veronica.
Well, there's the morning skate difference. Skylar Fontaine, Katie Cipra, and Frankel. Now, some people call this the class that changed NU. What do you think of that?
I'm honored to be a part of this class that changed NU. Like
Made it a hockey destination. That's when, everything kind of took off with your class.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome coming in my freshman year. We had lots of people to look up to, and I feel like we did have a really good class. Big mix of personalities there, just between like a lot of seriousness with Frankel, and then there was more loose personalities like myself, and so we meshed together really well. So we brought a little bit of everything to the table, I felt like.
And you had 19 games played, 1 goal, 8 PIMs. You guys won Hockey East over UConn. You made the NCAA tourney. Good run, especially for you guys coming in as freshmen. What do you remember about that NCAA, or if anything stands out to you? Because it was a first time for you. It was like, holy smokes.
That first NCAA tournament, well, I remember watching from the stands with my mom because I was scratched. And
there's my research. Again, the morning skate difference.
I remember McKenna Brand scored. Like the puck went in. I could see it on the goal line. Like I was sitting right on the goal line. We were at Colgate, and they didn't have overhead cameras at Colgate, and so the puck went in. Like I could see it clear as day. And they called it no goal. And that was like a big deciding goal for that game. Like that would have 2-2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just remember that, and just getting my first taste of the tournament was like, I think I didn't even realize like how important that was, or how cool that was, or how big that was for Northeastern. Like it was just kind of my freshman year. So
You do this every year, right? No big deal.
yeah.
And then the next year you had the big dogs show up. You had Alina and Chloe. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, listen, I don't want to. Mia Brown, Jillian Foote, Sandoris. They all, is another. But that's another like heavy duty class.
Uh,
Boom, boom. That's great recruiting. That's talk about turning the program around with those guys arriving.
uh-huh. Oh yeah, I remember when Alina came on her visit, and everybody was like, "Who is this girl?" And Flint was like, Coach Flint, he was like, she's super good. Like, don't like she's unbelievable. And she looked like I'm like, she doesn't look like that off the ice.
Mhm.
And she got on the ice our first practice. I was like, oh my God. She's the real deal. And I remember our men's team always used to be like, can we have Alina for the weekend?
I mean, she came on the podcast, and I don't know if she'd call me a friend, but I'll call her a friend. She hates it like I'm like 3-time Olympian Alina Mueller, and she's like, stop it. And now she's like one of the faces of the PWHL.
She's doing awesome.
Yeah. She's such a great person. I tell people all the time that's as good a player is, she's a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I loved watching Chloe play because she would play angry.
yes.
I really appreciate that. That's why I liked you so much when you played. So 36 games played. You got your first shorty that year. You guys won Hockey East, made the NCAA tourney again, but it was the overtime to Cornell. Again, another great run. Talk about like like you talk about the ripple effect, like when the rock falls in the water and how it spreads. It's the same kind of thing, I think, with the success that you guys had. Every time that you guys made the tourney, it made Northeastern more on the map as a hockey destination, a hockey program. It wasn't just an afterthought. The women's program was legit. It established you guys.
I agree. I feel like we would make the tournament and it would be like WCHA teams and ECAC teams, and we were like the hockey's team we made it for 5 years when I was there, and so that was I think made us stand out and help build a name for our league a little bit more. Just as we were like competitive in every game that we played, like even when we lost to Colgate or Cornell, like those were both. Was Colgate overtime? I don't remember.
No, Cornell was.
Yeah, and then we played. Then we didn't play.
Yeah, the COVID year, right? Yep.
And then we beat Robert Morris like 6-0. I think it ended up 5-0.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
So let's talk about the COVID season. Now, you guys were I remember trying to like let's go. Let's get these games in. Because you could see it coming once the IVs shut down. Another good choice not to go to Brown because you wouldn't have played. But once they got shut down, I felt like there was a sense of urgency in Hockey East to get the games in, get everybody playing, and get it done. It just, unfortunately, because I think you guys were so primed for that run that year.
I
I
think that was the year that everything was like falling in place, like Frozen Four in Boston, and I think we were peaking at the right time. And I mean, the national championship was my 21st birthday.
No kidding, really?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I kept telling Carp the whole year. I was like, if we make it that far, you're never going to see me again.
I'm going to have my first drink ever now that I'm legal.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year where you had this year, which is crazy to think that year was this year's graduates freshman year. That was Culleton, Carter, Phillips, Knoll, and Anderson came in. That was their freshman year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is crazy to think about.
Like that. It goes by like that. It's insane. It is nuts. You had your career highs that year, points, 20 PIMs. And like I said, you guys won Hockey East. You guys spanked UConn. That was the year you guys demolished them.
I felt kind of bad. We benched our first line.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if I remember. I think I copped onto it like midway. I'm like, wait a minute. I know what they're doing.
We're like,
Yeah.
let's hope for the next game. That's what
Yeah.
the thought was. Like, we got other games to play. We got Princeton on the clock.
Yeah. So when everything got shut down, did you stay or did you go? What did you have the option? What were you? I mean, go home or stay in Boston? Did you? I don't know. I don't remember how it worked for you guys.
March 12th was the day that everything like got canceled, the NCAA's, and then I think we got kicked out of our dorms like the
Oh,
17th.
okay.
But me and like half the team, we were in Florida because we were like, oh, cheap flights. Let's book a flight down to Florida really quick. So we ended up getting like $25 round trip flights to Fort Lauderdale. So we were down there, and then we get the email about our school being shut down and them kicking us out of the dorms. And I remember being like, what am I going to do because it was like over our trip. So we all had to like email and get an extension and move out a little bit later, but we were out of the dorms. Like I was home back in Michigan by the 20th.
Wow. And that's when like Massachusetts was shut down, but Florida was like, what's this COVID thing? It was very, yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember people like, if you go down south, there's no COVID. I'm like, no, it's not how it works. It's everywhere. They're just, that was.
We're like,
That
if we're
was
not playing hockey, we're going to sit on the beach in the sun.
fair. I mean, why not, right? So,
Mm.
so coming back the year after, this is when Abby came. You got Jovetic came in, Molly Griffin. This year is one of the captains this year, Molly Griffin.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Congrats, sir.
And Murphy transferred over to make the as I called him, the 600-point line complete. I mean, just unfair. And
Unfair.
this one pisses me off a little bit. And hey, Nicole out in the Midwest, if you're listening, there's hockey in the East also. That writer, she drives me crazy. All the talk about the NCAA dominant lines, and thank God for Delaney or whoever's running the social media constantly replies with the picture of them. But how are they not in the mention? You played with them. How are they not in the mention as one of hockey's best lines?
I have no idea. Maybe because they played together for such a short amount of time. I mean, they got like a season and a half once Murph was able to like play, but I have no idea. Like to me, they stand out. Like I still brag about them.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'm like, oh, they could kick anybody's butt here.
They're all playing pro. They're all having success. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It just drives me
I
crazy.
saw Ottawa just made the playoffs. They clinched their spot this
Oh,
afternoon.
did they? This afternoon they did? Wow.
I believe so. I saw it on Twitter or something. So
Yeah, I will say I've been to a few games this here for Boston to see Alina mostly, obviously, and Frankel too, but Frankel I'm still kind of afraid of her. But the it's funny, it's changed, right? So me and a couple of buddies went to the first night and we saw Carp and the team there and everything. It was a great time, but everybody was just happy to be there, right? And they were happy that it was going and it was happy that the league had been formed. Now, like, what are we talking about? 6 weeks, 2 months later, everyone is now like treating it like we got to make the playoffs and oohing and on and that it's somehow it's great. I'm not saying this is a negative, but over like that time, it's morphed from yay, we're happy to be here to yeah, this team's my team and it's supporting and I just it's great to see it. Like we were talking before we started recording about like you gotta, it's not the yay, we're happy to be here part's done. It's now like, yeah, hey, you got to back check and you got to call them out for not, and stuff like that.
yeah, it's like who's not having a good year? New York. Brooke Hoffman talks to me every now and then about like, I'm like, are you guys gonna make the playoffs or not? But it is like that. It's like kind of cutthroat. It went from being, oh yay, women's sports to like very, very has a following, competitive, and y'all better do good. There's pressure on them, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So good. But I'm so glad that there's so much support and following and fans and the whole ordeal. I think that this league is really going to take off in the next few years. I've been telling people, I'm like, if I had any free money, I would invest in women's sport.
No one has free money. It's funny too that you were saying that it's like they keep setting attendance records, and and the other thing. So Gwen Phillips is coming out of college. She's one of the best goalies on the planet, and someone's going to lose a job to Gwen. So at this point, it like I know you don't want to grow too fast, but based on how they grew and came from nothing to playing in 8 months, I think they could expand right now. I honestly do.
Get a team in
Detroit, Chicago. They've been talking about down in Florida. Where was the other location? Like, do it in Quebec. I mean, they're dying for a team up there.
Yeah. I mean, have a women's team there.
Yeah.
Have a men's team there, so like people can watch hockey again. Sure, I'm sure they'd fill that place up.
Yeah. All right. So your last year. Well, let's go back. Your fifth year or your fourth year. Sorry, that was the overtime with the bullshit call on Chloe, where they said she moved the puck, which we still stand that she did not. You won the bean pot and double overtime. That was your first bean pot, right? That you won?
The only bean pot.
That was your only bean pot. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And McGinnis with the power play. That's right. Yeah, she had the power play goal. I didn't remember it. I have it written down. Yeah. It's not like I remember. But you won Hockey East again, the women's championship, and you told me before when we talked last week that was the game that made you come back. Oh, did I lose you? Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
That was the game.
My phone keeps making me. Sorry about the dings. I don't know how to turn it off. No, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. But yeah, if we would have won that game, I told Coach Flint and I told Coach Karp, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be back.
You told them after that?
Well, I was like, if we win a national championship, that's my ultimate goal. And so do I come back for a year that I potentially don't finish on that ending? I don't know. And I ended up with like pretty bad hips after college. So like my 2022, I had both my hips done in that year. So I was pretty painful going into my fifth year, but I was like, we have this chance to win. And all I wanted to do was win a national championship. Like I just wanted to taste of that win, like being the best of the best. Unfortunately, we never made it that far, but we made it pretty close. So.
Yeah, I will say also to those listening at home that Tessa's being very gracious because the dummy that I am, I was like, hey, so no PWHL. And she was like, oh, yeah, I've had both my hips done. I can't. Yeah, that's gone. And I'm like, my bad. And so, yeah, I'm glad that you were nice about it, but I'm going to be honest about it. That was 100% my fault.
I don't even think I could play it. That league's good, but
I think you could have. I think that league is like your style of play would do well in that league. Yeah. And so you could say that you made it like you're one of the people that made that type of play possible with your college career, the way you played. I mean,
I just love how much the women's game has grown in the last couple of years. It's been really awesome to see. Like I talk about all the time, going from, I grew up playing boys hockey where, I mean, I would get dressed in the bathroom. I would get dressed sometimes they would put me in like a broom closet because they didn't have women's locker rooms. Right. And now I feel like that happens way less.
Yep.
And every rink is equipped with a women's locker room for the most part. And I just think like seeing that difference has been so awesome, and the support of women's hockey. And we have now in Kalamazoo here, we have 2 girls teams. We have a U12 and a U14. I work with them during their seasons. But when I was growing up, we didn't have any girls teams in Kalamazoo. Like I had to drive. I drove an hour and a half to Lansing like 3-4 nights a week for 4 years to play hockey. And so just seeing the difference now has been really incredible. And I'm so happy with how much it's growing and continuing to grow. And everybody in the PWHL, I think, sets a great example for young young girls. Because not only do you have amazing hockey players, like you have amazing women in that league, like really, really, really good people. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I don't think you should sell yourself short. I think you were part of it. I think as one of the people that you, like I said, you put Northeastern on the map. And I think your style of play, which, yeah, you got whistled, but I think it also was like, wait, girls can play the same. You know what I mean? It's funny too when I go to the games. If I sometimes like my daughter and wife will come and we'll bring friends and stuff. And the women who played sports like my wife did, like at, varsity level in high school or some college, they're like, "What do you mean you're not allowed to check?" I'm like, "Well, they don't let." They're like, "It's still hockey." They get like mad, and they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "They checking the pros. Why aren't they checking?" And I'm like, "I don't control this. Like, don't get mad at me." But yeah, it's
those rules that is like outdated in my opinion.
for sure.
It is just something that somebody decided way back when, and it's just never changed. And so I like seeing it change a little bit more now. Sure, eliminate open ice hits. Like if you don't want women doing that, sure. But let us hit each other along the boards. Or it adds a whole nother aspect to the game where, because I feel like men's hockey is like could be more physical and women's hockey is like more skill. Like you see a lot of plays in girls hockey. This is how I try to explain it when I'm like, check out the PWHL. You should watch the games. I'm like, it's very skilled. It's different. But there's a lot of plays. Like you can kind of see the patterns and the plays and the systems, and that's really cool. But yeah, not like men's hockey where it's like, oh, you're trying to run each other over in the corners, or you're like going in the corners a little bit scared. It's just a different style. And so I try to see if like get people to appreciate that as well. But also when like PWHL, like they're allowed to full on. I mean, I've seen some big hits in that league.
Well, now too, the last few weeks I've noticed there's a lot of after whistle scrums, and there were some punches thrown. I saw,
line like drop the gloves and fighting.
Yeah. Well, Katie Knowles coming, so maybe that'll happen. We joke all the time. I was saying that Carp when I was like, in my opinion, like you walk, so like Noel and Jovetic, Constantinople, Brazis, they could all run. I mean, it's that setting the tone. And then your fifth year, please just tell the story because this is all right. So Guarino, Taborski, Mariano, and the mayor of Kingston, Skylar Irving, all arrived on the scene here. Can you? Oh, and Maddie Mills transferred over too. I don't want to just forget about that. Another 22 PIMs, your career high that year. Another Hockey East championship. You made the NCAA's. But please tell the story of your first practice with Skylar Irving.
My first
with me, or the one you told me.
Weeks of practice.
Well, the one you told me about the Michigan.
Oh yeah. So our first practice, like her freshman year, my fifth year, I'm like, I'm old. I've been here for a long time. This little freshman, Skylar Irving, comes up and tries to do the Michigan on our reigning Patty Kazmaier award winner, Aaron Frankel, at the first practice. And people are like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? That's what it was more like. And a couple people had a few words for her after that, but it was really funny. Like, it was just like it was a moment.
I thought that was a great story, and
love the confidence that she had going in. Like, I'm here for it, but just not on Patty Kaz herself that year.
What was Frankel's reaction?
Oh, Frankel was. I mean, I can't put words in her mouth, but let me say, I think that she was mad.
So my co-host Ked loves Irving. He thinks she's so much fun to watch, and like I've gotten him into it. So now he's like streaming games from. He lives in upstate New York, so like he'll be texting me while I'm sitting in the press box. It's hysterical. He's like, Irving's got to get it going. I'm like, she should be fine. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't think he's met her, which is good.
Like when she's on, she's like unbeatable by anybody. Like the Bean Pot. I watched that game. I watched that game live, which unfortunately I'm not able to do as much as I'd like, but I did watch the Bean Pot this year, and she was I was like, what did you drink? What'd you eat? Like, give me your diet. You were just outstanding.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
funny. It's funny talking to the players on the team. Like Katie Knoll had told us that if you watch the replay, once Katie gave her the puck, Katie was just gliding, like standing straight up, sticking her way. She's like, if Irving didn't score, I was so screwed because she was in no position to back check. She was not following the play, but she's like, I just felt it. So
I love the 3-on-3 overtime.
yeah,
Like, I feel like it is more conducive to goal scoring. Like, you end up ending more games in the overtime. I just hate that the Bean Pot would go to a shootout still. Like,
yeah,
but I'm glad it ended when it did.
yeah.
So we didn't even have to worry about that.
I would like to see just maybe you do the 5-minute 3-on-3 and then flip ends and do another 5-minute 3-on-3.
I
Because you're
think that
talking that's in real time. That's not more than like 17 minutes.
that's
You know,
plenty of time to score a goal. And if you don't score in then maybe you do need the shootout. Like,
yeah. The bean pot's an odd duck. Trying to explain to people that aren't from here about the bean pot, they're like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, and it doesn't count. I'm like,
it
no.
was until my freshman year. And then our coaches were like, oh, the Bean Pot. And then I learned about it. I had no clue. From Michigan, we never talked
Yeah,
about that over here.
yeah. It's something though. It
Uh,
is a fun. That's one of the favorite times. It's just like that weird little thing in the schedule to look forward to.
oh, it's awesome. Like, the fact that we even won one, I feel like a life accomplishment out of that, to be able to like have that on my resume. Like, hey, I won a Bean Pot in 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, that was a good year. That was a good celebration too. I mean, we finally got out of the rink at like 1:30 in the morning.
Not late.
After the overtimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Wow.
were playing until like 12:15.
Yeah.
Then obviously we had to celebrate a little.
Yeah. Responsibly, I'm sure.
Huh. We had to take some pictures on the ice, a couple interviews.
So talk about the nursing.
Nursing, yes.
Yeah, it's not all athletics. There's academics, and you translated that to
I am in nursing school right now. So I just finished up actually on, goodness, what day? It's Thursday now. Tuesday, I had my last final of my
congrats.
semester out of 4. So I got one more left. I graduate in August, and then I will be working in pediatrics at Helen DeVos in Michigan. So I'm
That's
super
awesome.
excited for that. I think that it ended up being just a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of falling into line right now, which I'm very grateful for. I think it just took a little bit after like hockey and graduation, and then my hips
Mhm.
in that year following. Like, it took me a little while to kind of get my foot in the door and my feet under me. But I am really excited for nursing. I think that because I was on like a pre-med track for a little bit at Northeastern, and then I switched to pre-PA. And then when it came to time to apply to schools, my heart wasn't in it. And so I couldn't really decide. Like, I was like, maybe I'll apply, maybe not. And then I remember telling my mom, I was like, I think I might want to go back and get another bachelor's degree. And she was like, oh goodness, you're paying for it. But it's been awesome. Like, I'm so happy. I've met so many good friends and so many good people in my program. So it's been really good.
Oh, that's awesome. And are you still doing the mentoring with the athletic mentoring with the younger girls in the hockey camps and such?
Yes. So I work in strength and conditioning right now at Athletic Mentors, which is it's hard to explain what we do because it's like a little bit of everything. But we do a lot. Like, I focus a lot on youth athletes. I work with like in the summer we have a really good hockey camp of just like juniors guys, college guys that come in and train for the summer, and then they'll go back to their teams. And I kind of got into it because I trained there all growing up. So Mark, who's my boss and my trainer, he went to college with my dad at Northern Michigan.
Mhm.
And then moved down here. I don't know. They've been friends since forever. So my dad got me started working out. I think it was like 9 or 10 when I started going to the gym. He was like, "Oh, you want to play hockey? You need to start hitting the gym." And I was like 10 years old. So I do that. So I work with a lot of like youth hockey, youth athletics, and I enjoy it a lot. But once I like start nursing a little bit more, I'm going to end it there.
And I saw too that you were doing youth boys lacrosse. You were coaching.
I coached youth boys lacrosse. My little brother he just turned 18. So I coached him when I was in high school all the way. So I think he was like kindergarten through 6th grade, I was his coach, which was really, really cool to be a part of, and kind of see like him grow up in that. And we're really close. So actually I think, don't quote me on this because I have not let this coach know, but I am going to try to work with his old high school team this summer and potentially in next year, which will be a lot of fun. Because I'm trying to get back into hockey a little bit. I've been out of I do the strength and conditioning with athletic mentors, but I would really, really enjoy like coaching a team and having like one team that I stick around with and help succeed throughout a season. So I'm thinking next year maybe I'll give that a go just for a hobby.
That's great. No, coaching. I enjoyed coaching. I will say though, the K through 8 is a whole different vibe between 9 through 12, because that's about when they start becoming little shitheads. And it just, and you're like, when they're young, they just want to get better. But then when they get older, they're like, I was watching YouTube and I can do that. It's like, oh my God, just stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely see that for sure. But I work with high schoolers right now, and it's like, you kind of gotta just, I'm trying to kind of got to just give it to him a little bit. Like I say that about my little brother. I'm like, he's great. You know why he's great? Because he got picked on.
Just show up with the rings, show up with the hardware. That's all you have to do. Yeah. Show up with your stuff.
Oh yeah.
Are you able to skate? Is it painful? Are you good? Are you pain free?
I'm pretty pain free except for like soreness. Like I could never do what I did a couple years ago, but I played broom ball on Sunday and I just now am feeling like I can walk again. I was so sore from that. I played broom ball versus 14-year-olds for like a work thing. And first of all, they beat us. They went 4-0 against us in 4 games. And and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was like, I can't walk. I can't walk straight.
Did you run anybody?
2 kids, yeah. They needed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I totally could. Like I every now and then, my brother's getting a beer league team together between him and his friends, and so I'm like, I'll be a sub. I'm not going to be on the team, but I'll sub. Whoever can't make it, I'll play.
Oh, look at this organic ad read, because we're sponsored by Beauty Uni. So when you jump on with your brother's team and they need jerseys, hop on beautyunis.com. They are right there on the screen. I don't know how to work all the stuff to get it to scroll, but they're great guys, and you can call them and they'll walk you through the whole process. Top quality stuff. I'm so proud of myself for that ad read because I never remember to do that. All right, so let me talk to you. I want to talk to you. I reached out to some of your former teammates, not players, and I wanted to get their vibe. Tell some stories. Tess is just a firecracker, life of the party kind of person. I love her to pieces. I'm not sharing any stories because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm sure she'll share with you.
Who's that?
That was Katie. Tess is awesome, one of a kind. I felt so fortunate to play with her. Her style of play is one that I never really saw in our league. Ask her about our AM summer training that we did. That's Abby. She said you would take a timer photo together over morning, and you guys love to get up early and work out. You guys were only 2 there and had the best time, she said.
Oh my goodness.
Michigan connection, she said you guys would always say.
The Michigan connection, because I mean it was like her, Tori Sullivan, and me. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else from Michigan that we ever played with. But it was just like the three of us, which I thought was because we had a lot of Massachusetts kids on our team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was going into my 5th year. The only way I could come back is I had to space out my classes, and I did like the co-op program at Northeastern,
which is low key. If you're not sure of what you want to do, I'm telling you right now, the co-op program might be the best thing on the planet Earth for student athletes or students in general. Doesn't have to be an athlete. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Well, Coach Flint really helped facilitate that for us. Like he totally recognized that it's like, I mean, now there's girls hockey and you can have a career out of it. But before it was like, oh, you need to get your degree, do well in school, because it's like college hockey and then that's kind of it. Like, but now there's more and more and more. But he was very great at just making sure that we were able to explore different avenues. And so he was flexible with our like practice schedule and was helpful in facilitating that. So my 5th year going in, I had like split out my classes because I was going to graduate I was set to graduate. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come back as soon as we lost. I had already like planned everything out. And I did the co-op from July till December, end of December, where I worked, oh my goodness. I worked like 7:30 to 4:30 every day, and then went to practice on the ice at 5. And I would like ride my bike from the hospital. I worked at Brigham and Women's.
Okay.
And I would bike to the rink really quick, throw on my gear, and try to be on the ice by 5 o'clock. And Abby and I would work out that summer. We worked out together every morning at 6 a.m. We would be there 6 a.m. sharp, ready to go, because that was the only time that I was like, I need to get the lift in.
Right.
And before work. And she's just like a go early morning riser, just great person, cheery and happy as can be. So we had a really good relationship. And then we would take like a self-timer photo after every workout together of just her and I. So we have this whole like book of pictures of us together.
That's awesome.
It's really fun. Yeah. It's awesome.
That's the stuff though that makes it so special. I did want to ask you too. So I reached out to Scurvs, right? And she sent me, it's gotta be like 5 paragraphs, but via text, and it was just like her talking. Like she put in all the likes and legits. It is so funny reading it. A lot of LOLs that she would put in there. It's just so funny. She said that she was legit terrified of you for one game at BC. You guys collided, and she was never so scared in her life. But when I got to the bench, I put my head down. I was like, shit, I'm about to get beaten up.
She was changing for me, I was changing for her. Like I was on the bench. She was coming to the bench. She was a center, and I was going out as the next center. And we just right into each other at BC, like at not a good moment. Like it was just, and we laid each other out too. It was not a soft hit. Like nobody won that battle. I do remember that one. That one was funny. I did not know that she was so scared of me that
the best is that you both remember it. That's just great.
But I do recall that, and I remember being like, not angry at her, but just, who is this freshman?
I do want to. She also said you guys bonded over Subway subs.
Yes. We had a Subway thing.
But I do want to ask you about this. Do you like a little pink gnome thing that you would dip in the water? You know what I'm talking about? By your expression, I know you know.
Yes, my mom got this troll, this plastic troll with pink hair.
Yeah.
And I would, it was in my stall, it lived there, and I would like, it was lucky. It was my lucky troll.
Well, it's because of all the positive ions. Of course it was lucky.
Yes, she just soaked in the positive ions from the from our stalls and then right into her hair. But her name was Tiffany.
Okay.
So she was very lucky. Like I would pet her hair and then we would win games.
Okay.
So every now and then she would get a little sore though, and so she needed to take an ice bath in the and so Sky Irving would be watching me, and I would be like sitting in the corner, like with my troll, just like dunking her in the ice bath.
Yeah, she explained that pretty well. She didn't tell me about her name, but she would say, I just sit there like, Tessa, what is wrong with you? It was the way she described it.
She actually texted me the other day, so it must have been based off this, but she was like, do you still have your gnome? I was like,
I must have triggered her thinking about it. That's
yes,
great.
still in my hockey bag.
The last sentence she said, she goes, I'm super grateful we are friends and I'm no longer afraid of her, which I thought was fantastic. And then I always reach out to Carp and I say to him, I go, give me 3 words to describe a player. And for you, he said tough, tenacious, and a competitor, which, I mean, from a coach, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so we spoke on the phone. I don't remember what it was about, but he called me or I called him. And this is what he had to say. I'm just going to read you the whole thing. Ward is one of my favorite players because this is unbelievable coming from him because it was like a legit nice thing and not sarcastic. Ward is one of my favorite players we've ever had in the program. She grew every year as a player for the 5 years we had her. She and I didn't exactly see eye to eye her first year, but she was the most undervalued player for her time here. Everyone looks at stats and points, but she was so valuable in all phases of the game that it made it impossible for us to not put her out there. And then he said, not that we would have not put you out there. Ward came in and helped make this program what it is now. Oh, and then the other part, what I told you before.
The other part that cannot be included.
Yes, yeah. I had it italicized, so I didn't read it. But yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty high praise from Carp, you know.
I really appreciate that, especially coming from him. And it's good to know that I felt like I had such an awesome, and I appreciate like all the coaches and everybody that I played with. Like I was very fortunate to be a part of that team for 5 years, and the success that we had, it was just unbelievable. And I think that like our whole class played a huge part in that. So I'm very lucky to have
No, your game, like I said, I loved watching you play. That's why I loved watching Chloe on the PK. I love watching Abby eat pucks, you know, and Meg like fall when someone's near her and that person gets blown up and Meg says, I just felt that kind of stuff. It's and I don't equate myself with like obviously you all are D1 athletes, but like you watch like Alina skate and not a lot of people can do that, right?
No.
Or you watch like Fontaine go end to end, right? And that's
floaters. It's like, how are you along the ice?
There's no marks. There's no marks behind it. But like and I still play beer league, and there are guys that I play with that do all that stuff. But that's why, like you and the block shots, or like like other people we were talking about. That's why I respect it so much because I'm like, oh, I can see myself. I can forecheck like like it's my job. I can run someone into the end boards, and that's why I respected it. That's why I loved watching you play. I was really really happy that you agreed to come on. It was great. Great having you.
Grew up with the old school, old style hockey is kind of what I was raised in. Brothers, my dad playing, and so it kind of just fell into suit. Like
your poor mom.
Yes,
she's had a house smelling like hockey gear for the last like 45 years.
Let me just say that right here. My mother is a saint.
I do want to hit you with the lightning round. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. These are all over the place. So just top ahead. Favorite cartoon character?
Oh, The Simpsons.
Okay. No, that's fine. Not counting. I asked Flint these questions. So not counting Matthew's favorite and least favorite rinks that you've played in.
Oh, least favorite. I'll start there. My least favorite is, goodness, I want to say Maine. Maine was awful.
Stairs.
Yeah, the stairs and just like the locker rooms are small and it smells really bad in there.
And the bus ride.
Yeah, and it's like the crowd just heckles you. Like I remember them standing behind Frankel and just yelling at her the entire game. Like, there's 4 people up in the stands behind her and they heckled her the entire game. Like, I appreciate the commitment, but please stop it. But favorite other than Matthews, Goodness. I like Walter Brown. I like
Actually, that's come up a few times. Yeah.
Yes, it's a good rank, good atmosphere, and I like the size of it where it can kind of like, it's a good women's rink where if there's a decent amount of people there, it feels very full, which is awesome. But just like the history is really cool, the banners, it's just a good environment. So I enjoy it there. And I love the like little crosstown trip.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of travel involved. I mean, heck, we could walk there if we wanted to.
Can you imagine you guys all walking down the street with your bags? That'd be hilarious. Favorite pizza topping?
Ooh, mushrooms.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to diverge from this because Katie Knoll came on and trashed Boston pizza. As someone who grew up in Michigan, are you a Detroit style pizza fan? Or do you like New York style?
I'm like, what is Detroit? I like New York style. Let me just say that. I like
the
like
thicker.
fold my pizza. I want to make a pizza fold.
Okay.
I like that. The Detroit is like the thick
with the sauce on top, right? Yeah.
Sauce on top? No.
Okay.
I always am too, like, this is gonna sound weird, but for the most part, I take the cheese off my pizza.
Oh my God.
And so the Detroit style doesn't work for me.
I love talking to you guys because you're all like top athletes. And like when I asked Abby her favorite pizza topping, she's like, I really don't eat pizza. And I'm like, well, what about like a cheat meal? She's like, I don't know, maybe sweet potatoes. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I never feel so like out of shape and disgusting as when I heard that. I was like, ugh, I think I just had a burrito for lunch.
That's exactly like Abby.
Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I would rather fight a horse-sized duck.
Okay.
One opponent.
Yes. No, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I would break one of its legs and watch it swim in a circle for 30 minutes.
No one else has ever broken it down to that extent, but that was awesome. Laces and tongues, in or out?
Laces, tongues under the shin pads for sure. This is like no flop. And laces out. I like the laces out. Give me the bunny ears. Big fan.
Okay. I just changed like a year and a half ago. Ked, my co-host, was like, you got to try tongues in. I'm like, I don't know, guy. And I did it. And I'm like, why have I not been doing this my entire life? I was like mad.
Hoarded around your ankles too. It's just like it's like a nice little hug for your foot.
Oh, that's awesome. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you choose? If money's like no object.
If I could live anywhere, that's a really hard question. I don't know where I'd want to live. I would want to travel around. I wouldn't want to stay in one spot for very long. I definitely get the travel bug a little bit. So, but I could see myself in Michigan long term. I think I'll like it here. I really like it. There's lots to do with just like up north and stuff. And I'm a big fisherwoman, so
nice.
I enjoy that in the summer.
Muskies.
Muskies. We have muskies here. Like mostly, I'm mostly like bass.
Okay.
Bass. My little brother just bought a boat last week, so that that'll be a lot of fun for the summer. But we also do like pike fishing, steelhead. I just learned about what a muskie and a walleye. I just learned literally yesterday. I had like an hour-long conversation with a guy while we were working, and he broke it all down for me. Because I only saltwater fish, so I had no idea. Oh yeah, stuff. Yeah. So. The ocean scares the life out of me.
Well, you're in a boat or on shore typically. I'm not spear fishing off of Boston Harbor. When you go to the movies, what's your concession order?
Like popcorn and a cherry slushie.
Okay. What is a skill you don't possess but you would love to master?
Oh, this one I'm gonna work on. I want to learn how to sew my own clothes and stuff. That's like a hobby that I want to pick up.
Like repair your clothes or make your clothes?
Make my clothes.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm gonna try to learn. So that's something that's really cool. Or an instrument. I would love to play an instrument. I don't play anything. That's not one of those things that my parents pushed for us. So I think that would be really cool, like the guitar.
Yeah.
I actually have like Brooke Hobson's guitar. She couldn't bring it back to Canada. I have it at my house. I'm like, I told her I would learn how to play on that.
Oh, there you go. Did you tape your stick heel to toe or toe to heel, and white or black tape?
White tape, and I would go just about this big in the middle of my blade.
Yeah.
Like that big. I wouldn't cover the toe because I hated when the tape would get soggy.
Okay.
And so like during the game, second period, and I didn't like retaping it during the game. So if it got too soggy, I just didn't like the toe covered because I felt like
no wax.
Oh, I would soak it with wax.
Okay. And it would still get soggy, you felt?
Yeah, it still felt soggy. The kids that I work with now are like, what is that on your stick when I have to coach skills? Or like, that is disgusting. I'm like, you're one to talk. You're 12.
They know disgusting though. Kid makes fun of me all the time because I don't do the whole thing. I do like that. Like I leave like that much of the toe out. But this is where he makes fun of me because I start at the bottom, I go heel to toe, and then I come back down.
A double layer?
Yeah. And I don't know why, but I feel like it's soft. It's weird.
See, that would drive me crazy. That would feel extra soggy.
Yeah. Probably why I don't have a good slap shot. That's what I'm going to blame it on anyways. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or talk to animals?
Talk to animals, 1000%. I love animals. I don't know what goes on in their
head. Besides hockey, what pro sport would you pick to be successful at?
Probably golf. I'm trying to pick that up a little bit more. So yeah, I think that would be cool.
That's one of those things you can play the rest of your life too.
Exactly. Yes. I went out for the golf outing last year and
Northeastern.
They got completely rained out. Like I remember trying to putt and you couldn't even putt in the rain because it was just like your ball was floating in the water. So it was kind of a bummer. But me and Mia Brown were like, we came here to golf. Carp let us golf for free.
Nice. Don't tell anybody on this podcast.
Don't tell anybody on this podcast. He was like, oh, young alumni, you can have like a freebie round. And so we went and we're like, he let us golf for free. We're finishing. Like, we have to finish the golf. So I think her and I were the only ones from our team that actually like golfed the full 18.
She's from Vermont. Like rainy, cold weather is nothing to her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You two are perfect pair out there. Would you rather spend 5 years in jail or 10 years in a coma?
5 years in jail.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather have wings, a prehensile tail, or the ability to breathe underwater?
Wings. Flying would be cool. The ocean scares me. I'll go back.
Besides the gnome, did you have any game day superstitions that you can share?
I had a handful of them. One big one was I would only eat, like game day, I would only eat 2 Panera bagels.
The whole day?
Games at 7:00. Well, I had like coffee and stuff, but 2 Panera bagels before the game, and that was like my routine. And so I would like go to the rink super early. I think I got there like 3 hours before the game, and I would cream cheese up my bagels and sit in the locker room and eat them. And Eric, our equipment manager, would always come in and we would chat a little bit. So that was kind of it. I'm trying to think other than that. There's none that I can share.
That's fine. Specific flavor bagels or random?
Plain was like my go-to, but I would also do like the Panera Cinnamon Crunch because like those are delicious. But that was if I felt like I needed a little more sugar or like something unique. But other than that, I was like two plain Panera bagels and a ton of Spark, which was our like pre-workout.
Oh yeah. Total time. Your total time playing hockey. Do you think you spent more time on the power play or the PK?
Oh, on the PK for sure. On the PK for sure. for sure. I was on PK all the time. I was only on the power play in like high school and 1 year in college.
I thought you would have been a good net front in on the power play. If you were arrested, what would your family and friends think was the charge?
Probably assault and battery.
That's the number one answer. If this was Family Feud, that would be the number one answer amongst the players. Oh, that's great. Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog person. I have 3 dogs at home.
All right. So you told me before that you lived with Franklin Hobson, right?
Yes.
What kind of dogs would they be?
Oh, goodness. Hobson. Frankel, I feel, would be like a Doberman. Let me just say that. And Brooke Hobson would be maybe like a poodle.
All right. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Like standard poodle.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, I get you. Do you have a TV show that you're embarrassed to admit that you watched or liked?
Oh, this one is like me, Sonoris, and Mia Brown became really close their freshman year watching Big Mouth. In
Big
their Big
What's
Mouth.
Big
It's a cartoon. It's on
Oh.
Netflix. It's kind of raunchy. It's like Family Guy, similar, but we would sit and watch that. So probably that one.
So
Or when I had my first hip done, I watched every single episode of The Kardashians.
oh my God.
So that's a little embarrassing to be like, I know everything that happened. Because people are dying, Kim. People are dying.
A kid I used to coach works for me, and I coached him for 3 years. He's worked for me for like 3 or 4 years. I don't know how he got in the subject, but I mentioned to him that I used to watch Glee. And he was like, "Wait, what?" And I should have kept that one to myself. So don't feel bad about the Kardashians. If you could have a Tessa Ward music festival with any 3 artists, living or dead, who would they be?
Oh goodness. Probably like Nickelback and Led Zeppelin
Okay,
and the Beatles.
nice. Just a couple more.
Yeah.
You could pick one superpower. What would it be?
One superpower. I would like to teleport.
Oh,
Can
that's
that
a
be
good one.
most?
Oh, good one. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Sky Irving.
Well, I saw her in the what was the video? Was it like someone stole Murph's dog running up to the bean pot or something like that? And Irving was just across the street, like bopping along, and they were like, "Sky, have you seen Beans?" And she's like, "No, what are you doing?" And I asked Irving, she's like, "I had no idea they were filming anything," and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would be a good matchup.
What do you think happens when you die?
Oh my goodness.
That's why we hit that one at the end, because everyone's not ready for it.
I hope I don't know. That's a hard one. Like if we get religious, I think if I live a good life, I will go to heaven. If I think that I live a bad life, I'm going to hell.
Yeah. And penalty minutes don't play into that, so you're good.
No, not at all.
And then this is the last one. Most famous person in your phone. Not that you have to call them. Just who's the most famous person in your phone?
In my phone. I don't know. That's a hard one. Let me think for a second. I have a couple of like my dad's people in my phone. But you might have to edit this part out because now I'm like drawing a blank on this last one.
No, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's not if you draw a blank.
I wish I could say Jerome Agenla, but
Well,
I'm like, I
Frankel,
get his number. Um,
Frankel, Alina, they're all famous.
oh yeah, probably Alina and Frankel and all of them. Like everybody who's playing in the PWHL that I know
That's what's
of,
so
like they're
great is that you don't even think of that as
celebrities outside of that.
but you don't even think of that as them, you know what I mean? And like
Teammates, like it doesn't really
right.
feel. It's
I
just
know.
they're awesome. Like they are totally famous and celebrities. Like it's so cool to see how fans interact with them and like their jersey sales
It's
and such.
I think it's great that you don't think of them as that, and I think it's also great that you're all still so close.
Yes, they're such great teammates.
We
I miss them a lot. They're always like, when are you coming back to?
well, that's all we have. I'm really glad we got to do this. I can't believe we talked for almost an hour and a half, but I appreciate it. And I very much enjoyed your play. I really did. It was always fun watching you on the forecheck and killing penalties, just eating pucks. And when you come back, I hope we run into each other at Matthews. That'd be great.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thanks for having me on. I had a great time chatting with you this afternoon. So hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah. And Tessa was brought to us by Beauty Unis and Key Sparkling Water. If you leave the house, don't forget phone, wallet, key. Look at that. I'm 2 for 2 on these things. Unbelievable.
There you
No
go.
one's going to believe I didn't have notes. All right. That's it for the morning skate. Enjoy your playoff run and watching Toronto go home early. Sorry, Meg Carter. And we'll see you soon for the morning skate. Bye.